parents would be like, ooh, what does that mean? And the kids just think it's silly, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no meaning behind it. It's just...
The parents overthink it.
It's just silly. I'm Greg Phelps, and I started my first art car in 1997. It was a summer-long interactive temporary project using colored decal material. And I would go to schools and daycares and children's festivals and let kids add to the design and peel it off and start the next year. In '99, I met Ramona Moon and introduced me to the whole concept of art cars. The idea of gluing three-dimensional objects to a vehicle. And once I started doing that, it just opened up a whole new world, not only of festivals and art car parades and whatnot around the country to go to, but just the whole idea of driving your art every day. It makes driving fun. Never a dull day in traffic. Art cars are wonderful because it takes art out of the confines of a museum and puts it out into the street. And the element of surprise, when you pull up to a red light and someone looks over, you know, all of a sudden they're happy and they're smiling. They'll roll down their windows. One of the things that I like about art cars is it's real simple. There's not a lot of skill involved. You know, there's some things you gotta know about glue and what holds and what doesn't, and make sure nothing flies off. But other than that, it's something very individual. Do whatever you want with an art car. I use recycled materials for the most part. As I've progressed over over the various cars, I've started to buy some materials, but for the most part, everything is reused, repurposed, whether it's corks or old toys, seashells that people have collected for years, whatever I get lots of. My design, the way I like to design things is do stripes of like materials, so that way the car always looks like it's in progress. It doesn't look like it's half finished. It just gets fuller and fuller. You just do a little bit every day, and next thing you know.
That's some crafty shit right there. Man.
Makes driving fun.
Huh?
Makes driving fun.
I hear you, man. I hear you. What's this, the dinosaur car?
That's the Dragon Wagon.
Oh, okay.
Officer directing traffic, and so he's like going, coming like this, and all of a sudden I pull up and he says, "Stop!" It's like, this is freaking cool, and then kept waving me on. And
our guitarist, our drummer from Ohio State University, with brilliant young talent.
You know, the nice thing about art cars is it's fun art. It's something that people get. People see a framed print, and they got a framed painting or a sculpture, and they got to analyze it or figure out what it might mean, what the artist was saying. But then if you see a car that's completely covered in toys and Barbie dolls, it's just fun. It just makes you smile. Not to try to sound like a cliche, but it does demonstrate the power of art and making people happy and bringing people together. When an art car is parked on the street, total strangers will come up to one another and start talking. I consider myself a lazy man's good Samaritan. I can make people smile and brighten their day, and I don't have to do anything but just go about my daily business. Just makes the mundane act of driving a pleasurable event. Every day is a parade, is what I like to say. Children love it. A lot of adults will look at an art car and think, immediately the person must be on drugs, or, they must be thinking about something crazy, or, why would someone do something like that to their car? Whereas a little kid, they just look at it immediately and think that's fun. They recognize their own toys. I strategically place mirrors at kids' height so that when a little kid looks at it, they can see themselves in the mirror, and they'll go down the whole line of the car looking at themselves. With some of the doll heads, where I take different heads and put them on a Barbie's body, parents will often look at that and think, trying to analyze it or figure out what that means, whereas a kid just looks at it and thinks it's silly. See Barney on a Barbie or something like that. I don't watch a lot of movies, but Toy Story was something that always appealed to me. The evil kid next door, I thought, was an absolute genius, the way he cut his pieces up and they moved them, and used an erector set and a doll, and I thought some of them were works of art. On my dashboard, I use a lot of pieces that are very significant to me, that remind me of people I know, places I've been, and my variety of influences. And I do have the little erector set kid on the dashboard. If someone does have negative response to the car, you can point out the Toy Story kid and say, look, this Disney did it. It's okay. Unlike classic cars, where there's a certain standard that everyone who's restoring a vehicle to show quality has to maintain, art cars are entirely different. It's art for art's sake. It's not something that you're building to sell. You're not designing for the market. So they tend to be things that the individual artist enjoys. And types of art cars that might be similar, like glued objects or sculpted cars or painted cars, but the subject matter is wide-ranging as the people who drive them. It's very accessible art. All you need to do is buy a $3 tube of glue at the hardware store and glue away. It's real easy. People will come up and see toys that they played with as a kid and makes them nostalgic, and they start talking about things. art cars become sort of like an I Spy, and they start looking for this and that. Art should be fun. Just going about daily life is so serious, and so interjecting art into daily experience is fun, and it always catches people off guard. One of the things I've done on my cars is I take bumper stickers and cut them up and put the words together. Sometimes they say something that means something, sometimes they don't, and it's always interesting to see what people try to read into them. Art cars evolve, and you're always adding, and it gets thicker and thicker. Even as someone who sees a art car every day, there's going to be new stuff. So it's always new, it's always evolving, there's more to look at. I think that everyone should drive an art car. One of my motivations for doing this, aside from the fun and spreading good cheer on the roadway, is to encourage other people to drive an art car. There'd be less road rage if we all did that, and we'd have something to smile and look at while we're sitting in traffic. I think I'm doing my public service by injecting art and fun into the boring commute. It's a rolling billboard. Everyone looks at it. Everyone stops and talks about it. I was getting a kick when I pull up to like a valet parking, and there's a Lamborghini or some exotic sports car, and then here's my Nissan Versa that has just a bunch of tchotchke and throwaway items glued all over it, and people are oohing and ahhing over my car and ignoring this exotic $100,000 sports car. And it's something most people haven't seen before. I attend festivals, I go to parades. If there's a convention in town and I know that the conventioneers will be open to art cars, I'll park it out front and just sit there and watch people trip out on the car. I call it playing with the tourists. It just adds fun to my day as the driver, and I know that it's adding fun to other people as they see it. I would say that for the most part, everyone enjoys seeing an art car. So the art cars really have a great way of bringing up past memories for people and giving them something to think about.
Yeah, my goal is...
That's why I got them all strapped down.
Yeah, I'm trying to get involved with this schools, because there's a...
So I take my art car to schools because I want to influence the next generation. Art cars are used in schools across the country. It's a wonderful way to get kids to work together in a group, build self-esteem, feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. From inner city schools to suburban schools, they're wonderful. One of the great things about an art car is it's sort of freeing. Most people are worried about getting dings and scratches in their cars, whereas an art car artist doesn't matter because you're just going to glue more stuff on it. The sun is awfully powerful, and colors fade, vinyl doll heads melt, metal rusts. But just like a fine piece of sculpture made out of bronze, it develops a patina. So it's not melting or whatnot. So I've started incorporating mirrors into my car, and when you drive down the road, it creates this mirror ball effect as the sunlight hits it. And as you look down the street and up against a wall, you'll see hundreds of little round reflections. And so all the different little sections on my car have some kind of meaning. Sometimes it's apparent, sometimes it's not. Some of the sections of my first car had a lot of deep symbolism. More importantly, I really like my town, and I want people from out of town to come here and say nice things about it. And so you park a goofy car out there, and people look at it, and they're happy, and they say, "Wow, there's some crazy stuff in Columbus," but it's fun, crazy stuff, and it's something they don't see in every city they go to. I find an effective car that's glued is one that, from a distance, has some kind of design element, and then as you get closer to it, you see even more. So from a distance, you might just see stripes on my car, but then as you get closer, you realize that there's stripes of corks or stripes of mirrors or stripes of toys. I get a lot more value of it every day driving it than I may get at the end of its life when I try and sell it. Right. Well, a lot of people think when they see an art car, they'll think, "Oh yeah, I got an old beater, I can do that too." But you don't want to use an old beater if you're gluing your artwork on there. It's like if you're a painter, you wouldn't stretch a pillowcase out and call that a canvas. You want a good canvas and to start your work on, and the same is true with an art car. But like many people, I'm going to drive that car until it dies, and so I don't have to worry about resale value. And cars really have no value, and once you realize that, it's quite freeing.
When you just look at it and you're just like, whoa, this is like so much fun, and it frees your mind. It's a fun house.
And it is fun, like if I'm sitting there watching people and when they do that.
It's a mobile fun house.